So today, Sony-owned studio Sucker Punch announced that their 2020 game Ghost of Tsushima is getting a live-action movie adaptation. I really loved Ghost of Tsushima. I think I put it as number 2 on my best games of 2020. But either way, this game makes sense for an adaptation in my opinion. Obviously, Sony has been really kind of ramping it up with the Uncharted movie that's coming out, with the Last of Us HBO show that's coming out. So obviously, Sony wants these games and their franchises to be more than just games, you know? They want these to be movies, TV shows, and whatever, and this makes sense as a logical one. Now, the big news about this one is that director Chad Stahelski, who directed the John Wick movies, is helming this one. So I'm like a ridiculously big fan of John Wick movies. Like, I absolutely adore them and I think they're phenomenal. But that being said, what the John Wick movies do very well, obviously, is action. And, you know, they've done a little bit with lore and some of the world building and stuff like that, and that's just been cool. But I'm a little concerned with him being the one directing Ghost of Tsushima, because I was looking at his filmography and most of his work is done stunt stuff and, you know, early on in his career, which makes sense. And then obviously just the 3 John Wick movies I think are the only ones he's really actually directed. So with Ghost of Tsushima, and I mentioned this in my reviews, what I really liked about Ghost of Tsushima was, one, yeah, obviously the stylistic combat, action, everything. I think that's going to be done really well. I mean, if they show like all the different stances somehow in the movie and take like a lot of inspiration from that and be very detail oriented about that would be great. But what Ghost of Tsushima also did was it created a really well realized world. It had a great aesthetic, great visuals, and great audio design. All things also that John Wick does, because John Wick, like, those are beautiful movies. The way it's shot, and not just the action, just in general, like the way they create the sets and the way everything is shot, the way the sound design from all the weapons and everything going on, and that's really great. Now, can they emulate that with a more like open, free like Japan, where maybe there's like, you know, whistling of animals or just like the sound of wind bursting through like grass and trees and whistling around hopefully, you know, obviously, hopefully I'm pretty stoked about this announcement. But what I did want to say is that as a fear, I think the story of Ghost of Tsushima was really interesting, and I think it had a lot of like heavy themes focused on honor and stuff like that. And now that I'm saying that, like, that is a big core component of John Wick, where there is a society, just like samurai, that have very strict guidelines and rules that you can't break, even if it seems illogical at times. So now thinking about it, Jin Sakai basically, you know, goes the Ronin path and says, hey, helping people or doing what I believe in is more important than some honor code, versus John Wick, who basically does the same thing. So, you know what? Hey, I was going to come into this thinking a little bit like, you know, maybe some of that stuff would be tough to tackle, but Jin Sakai is a lot like John Wick. Damn. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be interesting to see like a really well-realized Japan in this movie. I think they need to cast, you know, like, obviously this is not a movie that you can whitewash or like put in a different setting. Like, obviously this is a Japan-oriented story, so it'd be awesome to see a bunch of hopefully some up-and-coming actors, maybe some actors we do know. But yeah, I mean, it would be a large Asian cast made by a Hollywood movie, which, you know, hopefully they do it right and give it the justice it deserves. And yeah, I mean, pretty quick one. I just want to say, like, it's an awesome announcement. Sony really seems like they're just going full on in this stuff, and, you know, action, visuals, and everything I think were solid, and those are like some of the most important elements of Ghost of Tsushima. But a few concerns on the story and how it's done and how it's portrayed. I hope this doesn't just become like a very, like, I want there to be a lot of action, don't get me wrong, but I hope they do have moments where like slower and take time to kind of build up the themes and everything like that, which a lot of parallels to what the themes of John Wick are, but John Wick definitely doesn't like focus on that. It's definitely like an action focused movie, and I hope that if we get to Ghost of Tsushima, which I guess the game, I mean, I guess they could do the full game in a movie. I mean, obviously, like, that's going to be a franchise. There's going to be more games, which could emulate into more movies eventually. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they can probably fit the whole game in a single movie. But yeah, I mean, exciting stuff, and I'm really curious where it's going to go. So yeah, but thanks for watching. For more video game, comic book movie, and just general movie news, stay tuned for more. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.